heard all about it?
I have.
Yeah, it's completely illegal actually.
Outside. You should, if you have the opportunity to ask the Prime Minister a question, I think that would be good.
Come on. Come on. Really? Really? Really?
Feminism! Talk to me about feminism! No!
If you guys sit down and behave until I get to you, I will give you the mic. How's that?
Give her the mic! Give her the mic!
No, well, you're still here? Okay, well then...
For 25 minutes now, and I'm up to 2 questions.
Nobody's given us a mic.
Stop silencing Indigenous women and girls. We want to talk about the violence on our bodies that you are designating with these man camps and the Kinder Morgan expansion. You have committed to our women, and you will not critique any of the industry that has led to our women and women like me being hurt and exploited. So why won't you talk to us? Why won't you engage with us? What are you so scared of?
Yes, we're going to ask the police to remove you. Yes, we're asking the police to remove you both.
She's not violent. No! Let her back in. She's not...
You're turning your backs on the chiefs of this nation. Justin, please talk to the chiefs before they let you.
That's the question. Go ahead, sir.
You talk about reconciliation, and look how you treat them. You won't even talk to them.
This opportunity. Guys, let him ask this question.
Welcome to Swanson Island, everybody. My name is Kwakwaka'wakw, Ernest Alfred. Today's date is February 6th, 2018. We've decided to host our own town hall, but we've decided to call it something different. Maybe we'll call it Village Hall.
Pass the mic.
Occupation Hall.
Occupation Hall.
The Empower Hour?
The Empower Hour.
Oh God, this is not Christian fucking legal.
I'm here with our first heckler arrived. I've
Give her the mic.
Give her the mic.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding.
Right. So anyhow, I'm here with my friends and my nieces here at Swanson Island Occupation, and we're here to talk about some of our reaction to the ridiculousness and the spectacle and the pageantry of the town hall in Nanaimo with Justin Trudeau. In our view was a complete farce and a waste of our time, because I know for a fact that Justin Trudeau never planned to speak to us at all, ever. At one point, I think he did offer the microphone to Wyman if he wanted to sit down or so, but really had no plan on actually delivering on anything, and it was just him talking. He wasn't there to listen to us. He was there to just sort of monopolize the floor and dance around in his padded underwear, and you know, it was so.
I wasn't even looking.
I looked once, but if you look at me, you can clearly see that at one point I completely go somewhere else, and because I just couldn't look at that. I couldn't even say what I can't even really say how I felt, because I was raging inside with all of this emotion and disgust for what was happening and what has been allowed to happen in our territory. What was your experience? I know they hauled you off in a hurry, but...
Yeah, they did, and it wasn't. I didn't even do anything. I was trying to talk to him. We were supposed to have a conversation, and isn't that what a town hall is? Like, if you're actually the leader of an actually democratic country,
you actually want to listen to the people of your country. And what he was doing was handpicking people from the audience to ask him questions. And if it was too long of an ask of a question, he would even cut them off and say, do you have a question? And then they would have to just ask their question. And then he would spend a lot of time either A, dancing around the issue if it's a question he doesn't have a good answer for, or B, selling something or the other, like a pipeline or a dam or whatever he's selling these days.
The economy.
The economy.
Selling the economy,
yeah,
at the cost of Indigenous lands and rights.
And see, or like, you know, like fluttering his eyelashes or doing something with his hair that gets people like all...
Well, he did a lot of mumbling is what I heard.
Mumbling, yes. And a lot of yelling. He was yelling at us to sit down and behave. I remember that was
my favorite
Justin.
was when he says, "Are you still here?"
I made it. That's when I knew. That's when I knew I made it. Is when he was really actually very, I think, bothered.
But a big part of the question,
by my ongoing presence.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, Justin Trudeau is being talked about on a national level because of his mismanagement of that whole situation. And for a drama teacher.
Yeah,
he did a terrible job, actually.
And for the son of a former prime minister, like, didn't your daddy teach you anything?
Because he lost his cool.
So many times.
He lost his cool.
Even when you guys were leaving, he started stumbling around too in his answers to the questions, right? Because he was trying to pretend you weren't leaving silently and upset. And then he was also trying to finish answering a question and sell something else too. And he started just stumbling around and mumbling around. And you could see he kept like sort of like looking but not looking. And it was the funniest thing because from beginning to end, from 0 to 100 of that whole town hall, you had this whole spectrum of nonviolent action. It was all nonviolent action. Literally, people were thrown out for speaking, and then people left for not being allowed to speak. So you had this complete spectrum of nonviolent action, and all of it came together to really, I think, show everybody that Trudeau is tired and a bad leader and also a bad man. Like he talks about feminism and he talks about, you know, like what does he call it? Like a global feminist development policy, and he meets Malala, whatever her name is. You're complicit with colonialism, by the way, now. And all that stuff, right? Like, and he says feminism, and then he hauls a young Native woman away, and hauls me away in the process as well. And then another Native woman hauled out in the end. When you guys,
four.
Right? So spectacular show. Spectacular show, Trudeau.
Feminism.
See, that's where I came in as well. I was the first victim of Trudeau's fascist attempts to use the crowd to not give someone a microphone.
That's fascist.
I asked for the microphone. You can clearly see me, and he demonstrates his control over the situation by saying, should he get a microphone? No, he's used his chance to get the microphone. At which point, it was the sisters here that he offered the microphone to if they would have sat down. They did sit down. The police were on them. I mean, it was out of control. There was no one was getting the microphone, basically. And he has this front, the feminism front, and the nation-to-nation front, that is easily shattered once you just throw that old stick in the mud, you know? Your casual Caucasian protester man can get under his skin right away. And as soon as I'm done, take down a couple Indigenous women. See how quickly the facade melts? I mean, it was like you're at a Trump rally in some ways. Yeah. And like you said, the old town hall meeting, have you seen the way these guys act in Parliament? At the House of Commons?
Yes.
I thought that's the way this was supposed to go.
Yes, and for a skilled politician,
you can't handle me,
to
Trudeau?
Handle a couple of hecklers in a town hall meeting, when what we just saw online in the House in Ottawa.
Yeah,
can we cut to a clip of the House of Commons? Do we have that? I'm being told we don't have that capacity. You get the point, right? These guys are given the chance to be an asshole at any given point during their careers, on stage, in public, in the background, and what? I call him out to get him going. I ask him for a couple issues. I ask him for the microphone. He can't handle it, so he sicks his dogs on me. Come on.
Well, let me say, though, that through the whole... And you don't see this in any of the footage I've seen. You can hear a lot of anger. There's a lot of frustration. People are shouting. And throughout the whole gymnasium, people kept calling out. And he was doing his pipeline sell. Trying to sell it to people who don't want it in BC. You can hear the people. I could hear people all over that gymnasium saying, "Stop the fish farms, stop Kinder Morgan, stop Site C," and all of these things were being thrown on the floor, and he would hear them and to get somewhat distracted, but really didn't answer any of those questions that we had and never really planned to, just more pageantry. And the most frustrating part for me is losing my composure and having to be like, I've got my hands up and I'm like, he can see me, because I say to him, I get the microphone next time. I'm telling him, okay, I want to speak now.
In your full regalia.
And we had to just leave because it was just a sham. When I realized that, and our family realized, I mean, my auntie, that's Paula's, lifted her chair and turned it around when she had enough. And at one point, you can really see the discomfort in that front row with the fidgeting and the looks on our faces, and it was
in front of the Canadian flag the whole time,
and totally ignored. And all of those questions were never really going to be answered anyway.
Well, what was his answer anyway to that Piscean?
Yeah. So there was a question put on the floor from a gentleman with an accent and behind us.
That's right.
And he asked, why is your fisheries minister wanting to put Piscean real virus in our waters? And the announcement, he took great pleasure in having his
benevolent,
flunkies,
benevolent announcement.
Yeah, and we'll just take this opportunity to announce yet more reviews, expert panels, and dive into the science of it all. Just that morning. Just so happens, because he knew that Ernest Alford was going head to head with Justin Trudeau.
I'm glad you announced that too.
Lots of people thought I shouldn't have, and that I should have been more sneaky. But I don't have anything to hide.
No.
I don't even think he deserved the right to speak with you, honestly.
Well, you know what?
He should have listened.
No, he should come to meet you.
I want to take this opportunity to say that we do have a follow-up meeting. It does have to happen, and the fisheries minister needs to be there to hear what we have to say about these farms, because we're removing them from our waters, but it's going to be without their help. But obviously, they don't seem to want to help.
Talk to the fish, guys.
Talk to the fish. Let the fish talk. Let the fish talk.
For fish sakes. This is how we were talking too, and they...
But no, and but the whole time, it was actually a really funny experience, though. Like when we both started heckling and Wyman started it off or whatever, and then I couldn't but help continue.
You started.
I did not start it. You started it. Shut up. It's always the white guy. Anyway, when all that heckling or whatever started, like, we were actually being really funny about it. And the heckling we were doing wasn't just about a pipeline or a mine, was actually attacking not only the Prime Minister himself, because he's a spoiled little daddy's boy, and all of that stuff, but also attacking the fact that the Canadian government literally has no jurisdiction to be doing anything that they're doing in these territories. They have no jurisdiction.
And he didn't want to hear about it.
He didn't want to hear about it. And so the whole time when we were talking, we were calling him out on himself being a terrorist and calling water protectors for being terrorists. We were making all kinds of really fun and enjoyable comments. And had you heard them, you probably would have been laughing with us.
Fine muting done at that event.
Yeah.
Like at every other time.
And we were silenced in one way, violently by the state, where Chief Ernest Alfred was silenced in a very different way by the violence, continued violence against his people by the state. And so can you see now the spectrum? Like, is everybody understanding now what's going on? And also understanding, too, though, that it's not just Justin Trudeau, that it's literally every single Prime Minister that has ever existed in the history of Canada, which is only 150 years. Literally every Prime Minister will do the same thing.
That would have been my question, too. Had I been offered the chance to get the mic, straight up, I would have just probably given it to you and had you offer it to Ernest, if that he wanted that to be his chance to speak. But if I had the chance to say one question to Justin, I would have asked him, do you feel you are equal to or greater than your father in terms of being a colonizer? Because I don't think he's as efficient, but the tactics are still blatantly evident. The white paper procedures, following Daddy's notes to a T.
Well, Mr. LeBlanc also sat with Senior Trudeau, and yes, both their fathers were in fact politicians at one time who fought our people.
There's something very wrong.
Yeah, there's something really wrong with this. There's
all of it.
Yep.
Even the BC-Alberta fight right now, I don't think it's real. It's an excuse to call in the government, clean up the whole mess. Look at what's going on. Oh, this is not fake news.
It's a conspiracy. I'm telling you, it's literally fake news.
Yeah.
Literally, this fight is being created for all of us to get all distracted by BC wine, not BC wine. I like to drink too, fine. But look, listen.
BC pot.
I like to smoke weed as well, yes. But the point is that BC and Alberta are actually very close friends. Even in John Horrigan's response to Alberta's NDP, to Alberta's wine ban. Thank you for prompting me. NDP for Alberta's wine ban was him saying, yes, we can continue to be good friends and this and that. So all of this is not a real thing at all. If Alberta really wanted to press BC's pressure point, it would be on Site C. Mm-hmm. And they would say, stop electricity talks now. Who cares about BC wine?
I have to say, insulting to people on Facebook right now who are toasting, and it's quite hilarious that people are toasting BC wine when you have young women parked at Burnaby Mountain, parked at fish farms in our waters, and all over the place. What I say is put down the glass of wine and do something about it and get in the way.
What about all the contaminated
water? Go
water?
park in front of an office.
Yeah, anything. Literally do anything.
Write a letter if you're too far away. Get your folks to go down there. Everybody knows somebody in one of our major cities.
Exactly.
And get there to question these and have these serious concerns and issues addressed, because it's silly.
Literally, my challenge to all of you who are watching this video is try to go to any politician, and I am saying MLA, MP, ombudsman, I don't give a shit. Go to any politician you are able to access, okay? And try to get a clear answer from them on fish farms or Site C Dam or anything. Just try to get one answer from any of your local politicians. Please film it, send it, reply on this video, somehow get it to us. Because I would love to see someone actually able to be talking to a politician who, first of all, is not privileged, not asking a soft question, but is asking like something about a controversial issue with which they haven't provided any of us with responses yet. Try to get one of those responses. What's a good question for people to ask, you think, to try to get a good response to? Like something about Piscine virus.
Yeah, I think that's all valid. Yeah. I think what we have to actually start doing is making the statements, because I wouldn't have asked a question of Justin Trudeau. Right. I would have made a statement.
Go make a statement to a politician.
Remove fish farms out of our waters with or without your help. So just get on side or get the hell out of the way. The same thing needs to be said about the Alberta tar sands and that pipeline. That's bad idea. And it is never going to get built. No. Those things need to be said.
No. And literally the only way now he can build it because of that bitumen legislation is by bringing in federal legislation that will suspend provincial law and will also then allow federal
overhaul?
No, this. Well, basically what the federal government is going to do is they're going to be able to bring in the army now, because the federal government is able to use all of its legislation and all of its power to enforce anything that's of the national interest, according to Section 92 of the Confederation. And if they choose which is their only choice basically left now to push through the Kinder Morgan pipeline, they will be able to push through the Kinder Morgan pipeline with the army.
And that's why these provinces are amping up this bullshit.
Yeah, because what they're doing now is they're pretending they're fighting. So they're going to say, hey, it's a better idea. All the businesses are going to say, hey, it's a better idea. You all come in. The federal government comes in. Trudeau comes in to fix this for us. And then Trudeau will happily come in and say, Section 92. And all the fights will be resolved because truly, Notley wants the pipeline and Oregon wants the pipeline as well, because all of it is money and all of it is industry. And if Oregon wants Site C and isn't prosecuting Imperial metals and is allowing fish farm licenses to continue, which I guarantee that's what he's going to decide, he will also want the Kinder Morgan pipeline. So all of this little fight that's happening is all for your pleasure and enjoyment. So please snap out of it.
Put down the wine glass and get involved.
Yeah, and
Get
go disrupt a politician. Go
What,
disrupt a political space.
My take on that is I got a very nice letter. Thank you to all of our supporters, by the way.
Yeah, we're getting such nice messages.
There was a huge outpouring of messages that came in from the town hall at Nanaimo, and one of them was that they decided they were going to a grocery store and they were going to start their own campaign. They filled up a grocery cart, wheeled it around all over the store, and they found Atlantic salmon in that grocery store, called the manager and said,
oh yeah,
do not carry farm salmon. I refuse to buy my groceries here. Made a spectacle. That was very exciting, and the only thing that I was upset, or the only thing I was a little bit disappointed is they didn't turn the camera on, and so none of it didn't go online or anything like that. Wow, that is going to make a ripple, and that makes a change, and that's how everyday people can get involved.
I think so. Create a spectacle.
The Safeway challenge.
Yeah.
Exactly. We do not want you to sell fish farms, Atlantic salmon here, and encourage your family.
Yeah.
Bring your friends.
Start it.
Put down the wine glass.
It's really horrendous.
And we'll stop them from putting it in the sea. We each have a role to play. You stop grocers and producers, or suppliers, sorry, from offering it to your dinner plate, whether you're eating out at sushi, which is almost entirely farm salmon, or bringing it home. You have a role to play there. Step in, film it, make them stop selling it, wherever you are. And we have the role to play here, to stop them from putting piscine reovirus infested fish directly into the water when they're young, to be raised and harvested and brought to that stage where you can now step in.
So I think
this action is necessary.
Well, I think and I think it's all important that basically anybody who's watching takes some precedence from what happened at Trudeau's event. And we've given you now a range of ideas for actions, and also you are also very smart. So figure it out, know the spaces that you have access to, the power spots, your work, your family, especially if you're white. You have lots of spaces of power. And go and disrupt those spaces. And disrupt them by repeating the words of people like Chief Ernest Alfred, who are talking about no consent, no jurisdiction, no fish farms in their territories. Go make a scene. Film it. Share it. Tell more people to make more scenes. Everybody should just make a scene everywhere and have a nice time doing it.
Well, I think there's more than just making the actions too.
Yes.
You can cook a pot of food and you can bring it to find out where the front line is. I found out that there's front lines all over the province.
Yeah. So
they're not in they're not on all isolated places. Yes. Find out how you can support them.
That's right.
Find out how you can donate to them, because there is a huge job being undertaken here by people like my nieces.
That's right.
Who are sticking GoPro cameras in the ocean to look at these fish.
And aren't getting paid.
And aren't getting paid, and spending time away from their families and children. And they are the new DFO. They are the original DFO.
Oh, original.
And we're taking our jobs back now because the DFO has done a shitty job. And I don't accept the review, by the way.
The Fisheries Act amendments? Aren't those nice?
I haven't looked at it entirely, but we're going to rip it apart a little later.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. And we'll give you an update.
Yeah. Go do some work, everybody. Yeah. And stop ragging on the people that are actually doing the work. Like, Cut.
Winston Churchill pointed out that democracy is messy, and it is messy, but it's the best possible form of engagement because we do get to hear from everyone in this.